Hey, this is Andrew. I'm the creator of Swap and Pop. You also probably know me as Omen King in the Tetris-attack online community on the Discord. And I figured I would just do a little preview here because no one has actually really seen my game. They've heard my game works, except for a couple people that can run the code. There's no validation that my code actually, or my game actually works. And so I figured I would show you where it's at right now and talk about where I'm going to take it this week. So I'm just going to cover a little bit more than I would normally because I've never shown the game off. But up here I have settings, right? And so I can map any keys. I have my Super Nintendo controller in front of me. I have it plugged in through a US adapter because I like the original controller. And here I can map my keys. So if you're on Xbox controller, N64 controller, you can absolutely map your keys here. I actually have full screen implement. I just don't have a hotkey for it. And in order to do it, I decided that I want to merge this window and this window together. And anyway, I have full screen. I want full screen. It's on its way. I just have to do a lot of work to get to there. The multiplayer is in. Only took 2 weeks to get multiplayer to work. The code itself only took, I don't know, 3-4 hours to code, but on and off it took 2 weeks to debug, write test code, and hammer out any issues I was having with it. As you can see, you can set the port. You have to set up port forwarding on your port of choice. The default port is 22022. So it's simple. You host your game, you give the IP. They dump the IP there. They set the same host or the port, and you should be able to have multiplayer. And I tested that with underscore and bytes, and with bytes it was not in great shape at the time, but with underscore it turned out pretty good. It was a bit choppy, but that's just how it goes. We have some minimal audio options. I don't know if I've hooked up all of these, because the music's not playing right now. I have it disabled manually, but you can tell I have the sound effects in. A lot of sound effects are in. I just disabled them because they just hurt my ears because they aren't properly balanced. I haven't had time to clip them. And I also don't have a motivation to clip them because I probably will source it to get someone to make new sound effects for me because I definitely have to get rid of all the graphics. I will make graphics that are a homage to the original game, but I obviously can't keep the original graphics because I just don't own them, and they gotta go. So if you still like the look and feel of Tetris Attack, that will remain, but obviously Yoshi's gotta go, the dog's gotta go, the stars in the scrolling star background has to be replaced with something else. So that's your trade-off, right? But I can tell you that whatever theme I will create, it will be some kind of theme with characters and things. I don't like the modern look of like Puzzle League. It's just too the modern nouveau kind of games where there's no aesthetic. It's just too generic. That's not for me. I want to have some kind of story or theme in my game. You can save replays. You can also change where you store these replays. These replays will become very important because when I do get an online community server, those replays will be sent to the server and we will have an abundance of replays so that we can watch previous games, watch ranked games later on. That is the goal. The community server is not a lot of work to actually code. It's just that I'm focused on making the game feel like a game so people get more excited about it. Speaking of which, let's actually look at the game itself. So, I don't actually want to host right now. I think I mapped my Super Nintendo controller. I'm just going to actually map all the inputs here. I'll put it back actually to keyboard because I don't care right now. Yeah, it's fine. So you can see I have the countdown. It randomly selects 2 characters. See if I were to quit again, cancel, and go back in, we get different characters. So I don't have character selection just yet, but I have them programmatically coded in. They're always on this forest background, which is fine. And you can see I can swap. And more or less, there are no issues. So, a lot of these things are coded in. Like the comboing is coded in, like counting combos and chains, but I just don't have the graphic. So this week I'm putting in the pills. I was just working on the pills to get them so that they could expand beyond the number 19. Because right now, at least I know in panel attack, they're all hard coded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 19, and I want chaining that can go infinite. Not that you'd ever get a chain of 999, but if you could and you wanted to see the visual that said that you did a 999 chain, I would love to show that. But anyway, here you can see I'm just going through it, right? So the change in cobble bubbles, sending garbage blocks, the other thing. I already have garbage planned out as I implement it. I don't think that should be difficult. Just because of the way I structured my code, I planned for garbage blocks. So this week I want to get the change, the combos in, like the graphics for it. I want to get the popping animation, when it goes, like the little particles, you can call it. I want to get these guys hooked up, which I'm moments away of hooking these little stars and counting the turns. And I want to get some form of garbage blocks in. If I hadn't said that already, I want garbage blocks. Garbage blocks aren't hard. They probably will be take a little bit more work than anything else. But since the multiplayer is already in place, I already know how I plan on transmitting that stuff. Oh yeah, I got the wall in. So this wall I just put in yesterday. It only took me about 30 minutes. To code this stuff isn't hard. It's more like going to the original game and counting the frames. So like it took me 20 minutes, 20 minutes to count the frames and 10 minutes to code it into the game. So if people were actually to count frame data for me, it would be immensely helpful for me. But as I said, this is probably an element that doesn't have to be faithfully recreated, but I just wanted it to feel like the original game. So here I can't get out. I have to close it. So there you go. That's the state of the game. As you can see, it wouldn't be that great to play with other people if it's not counting score. And if it doesn't give you the delay at the top, because right now I think when it goes to the top, when it goes to the top here, like they bounce, but as you see, as soon as it gets to the top, it ends the game, right? So I need to code in that pause as well. But the point is that all this stuff is really easy. So if I get the time I want, at the end of this week, we should have something that is more playable, and I can make a binary this weekend. I could release a binary now if you guys wanted to fiddle with the networking, but the only reason I haven't decided is just because I don't really like releasing something that's not playable, in the sense that you can swap stuff around, but and also if I start handing it out, like even one screenshot, I sent one screenshot out and John was already delivering bugs for me, which I want people to deliver bugs for me, but the bugs are just too obvious right now. I'd be inundated with explaining as to, yes, I already know this, or I already have tickets for it. So but I do appreciate it, and I do want feedback for my game. The other thing I wanted to touch on was Patreon, because I am setting up a Patreon for my game. I thought about Kickstarter, I thought about a lot of solutions, but the reason I like Patreon is because it's ongoing, meaning when the money comes in, it's collected, and I can set up rewards and goals. So rewards is great because I can say when I hit X amount of money, I can program the server, or like the community server, or I can prioritize things differently. So I would really appreciate your feedback, even if you don't think I'll raise any money, or it will be minuscule. I would like to set this up anyway. So tell me what you think would be fair rewards to set that you can think of, or goals. So like here, I wrote some goals myself, such as if I were to make $10 a month, goal earning amount. What does that mean? Earning based goals. Goals are best. Patreon's excited to. So yeah. See, I have to understand what this means. So yeah, if I were to, goals are best. I thought this was like monthly goals, like you make $10 a month. Maybe it's not, but my point is that when I reach goals or rewards, I'd like to set some stuff. Some things I thought of value would be like making bi-monthly videos similar to this, where I would talk about the changes I would make. Obviously, it'd be a little bit more focused because I wouldn't have to cover everything, and I could even jump into code and talk about how I implemented stuff a certain way, which I think people that are making their other clones or interested in programming would like to know how it works. I could set up weekly releases, meaning that I would always release a binary every single Sunday, regardless of state, stable or unstable. I would just release a binary so that you could always test the latest. Obviously, I could set up nightly builds, but there's some kind of automation I have to do there. I just wrote weekly there. Or, if I reach a certain amount, I could do more documentation, JS doc. It doesn't really help me, but like when you jump into code such as Panel.js, here, like I've documented how it works. I obviously have test code for all this stuff too, right? So I have test code, so it says what it should do, but in in combination with this, I have this. So like here I can go, I think I can generate it, npm docs, right? So I think it creates in this folder here. So if we go here, right, that is not what I wanted to do. So happens when you got multiple things open, eh? So here, like, it'll actually tell you, you know, why, what is what. So I can actually go through, document all this stuff. As I said, it doesn't add much value to me because I know how my game works. If I walked away from my code base for 6 months and came back, it would take me like 30 minutes to jump back in. But for people that, as I said, want to build their own game, whether it's a puzzle game or a Tetris-attack online game or a game in Electron, this is really the proper way to do it. I've been coding for 10 years, so I think I do have a really good model for replicating something if you wanted to make your own game. But yeah, so that's the kind of stuff. So I'd appreciate some feedback on the Patreon because I just don't know what to set up for that. And I just wanted to make a video because I should make videos, because why not? And this one was long-winded, but it's my first video. What do you expect? So I got to get back to work, guys, and adios.